Let's talk about how to reduce or eliminate cravings. That is, your uncontrolled, unrestrained appetite for unhealthy foods. Now, I'm not talking about a little bit of reduction, as people often say things like drink more water, address stress, get better sleep, get more fiber. Those things do work, but they don't really give you the kind of profound, absolute control over cravings and appetite that I'm talking about. I'm talking about absolute control that allows you to, for instance, walk through a buffet and not be the least bit interested. Be at an office party where they're serving donuts and cookies and cake and pie, and you couldn't care less. It allows you to be selective when you go to a restaurant and not give in to indulgence and just choose truly healthy, tasty foods. So I'm talking about profound, absolute control over hunger, the kind of control over cravings that allows you, for instance, to forget to eat a meal. It's just happened to me many times, where maybe you eat breakfast at 7 a.m. and then 3 or 4 o'clock roll around in the afternoon and you realize, oh, gee, I forgot to eat lunch. Or it's 9 o'clock at night. You think, I might be a little bit hungry, but why? Oh, I forgot to eat dinner. That's the kind of experience I'm talking about. And with this kind of control, when you do finally get a little bit of hunger, it's not the ravenous, uncontrollable cravings that other people get. It's just a soft reminder it might be time to eat something, because you do need to eat, of course, to suit physiologic need. So how do you absolutely gain control over cravings and appetite? Start with wheat elimination. Why does that work? When you eliminate wheat and related grains, like rye and barley and corn and oats, you eliminate the source of the protein gliadin. Gliadin is very poorly digested by humans. We don't have the enzymes to break it down. So rather than breaking it down into single amino acids like you would with any other dietary protein, like eggs or pork chops or steak, you break the gliadin protein down to 4 or 5 amino acid long peptides, or small proteins. But they're small enough to penetrate into the human brain and bind to the opiate receptors. But they don't make you high or provide pain relief. They stimulate appetite. They're known to be very powerful appetite stimulants. So people who include wheat in their diet often have uncontrolled cravings and hunger, often this unrelenting hunger. That's why you can eat a whole bowl of pasta, be filled to bursting, and still be hungry. So start with wheat elimination and thereby be freed of gliadin-derived opioid peptide appetite stimulation. Second step, never limit fat. In my program, my Wheat Belly and Undoctored programs, we never limit fat, total fat, or saturated fat. There never was any good evidence to show that total fat intake or saturated fat intake is associated with cardiovascular disease, contrary to the arguments you often hear from agencies like the American Heart Association. Those are misinterpretations, often interpretations of misrepresented science and garbage science. There's no real evidence to show. In fact, the opposite is true. When you cut out total fats and saturated fats, you have to replace lost calories with something, and that something is typically carbohydrates and grains. And that's where you have weight gain, insulin resistance, type 2 diabetes and prediabetes, and all kinds of other problems. So we never limit fat because fat is satiating. So have more butter. If you're going to have beef, buy fatty cuts. Never trim off the fat. Eat it. If you buy ground meat, never buy lean. Buy full fat. Use more coconut oil. Use more extra virgin olive oil. Never limit fat. Fats are satiating and they keep you from having cravings or uncontrolled appetite. Now, those two strategies alone are exceptionally powerful, particularly when put together. But if you're still having to contend with some degree of cravings or appetite, think about adding medium-chain triglycerides, MCT oils. Oils or oil powders. You can buy the oils and use it in food as a dietary oil. You can emulsify it with a stick blender in your coffee. You can use the oil powder as a coffee creamer. A tablespoon or about 10 to 12 grams twice a day, and you have more of an appetite suppressing, craving suppressing effect. And then lastly, another exceptionally powerful tool is to make our Lactobacillus reuteri yogurt. It's not about the yogurt. It's about 2 very specific strains of this bacterial species, Lactobacillus rotari, specifically the strains DSM 17938 and ATCC PTA 6475. Don't write that down. You'll find this all on my Wheat Belly blog. Just Google Rotary, R-E-U-T-E-R-I, Wheat Belly, and you'll get how to make the yogurt. But we make the yogurt, and what this yogurt does when you consume a half cup a day. And by the way, the yogurt is rich, thick, and delicious, much better tasting than anything at the grocery store. And we make it with half and half, high fat, 18% fat, because fat's satiating, right? And we make this yogurt, and what it does is Rotary, this organism, causes the brain, the human brain, to release the hormone oxytocin. And oxytocin has what's called an anorexigenic effect. It turns off appetite. So put any of those combination of strategies together, of those 4 strategies, and you are given absolutely profound control over cravings and appetite. And that allows you to eat to suit physiologic need, to eat only what you need. Food still tastes great. In fact, it might even taste better because you're being more selective about the kinds of foods you choose to take in. But this is how you gain absolute control over appetite and eliminate cravings once and for all.